Kenny Omega was talking on his Twitch channel. So the Twitch is, the live streaming, but it's mostly for like gaming and that kind of thing. He's talking about Kurt Angle here. Here's the quotes. I do think that Kurt Angle is the greatest. I can't even say just in ring. For me, he's the most complete wrestler of all time. He's my favourite. He's my go-to guy to study. For me, being an athletic guy that wants to be able to mesh well and complement every wrestling style. But also not. I'm also, of course, anyone who's familiar with me here in the chat, I'm not afraid to embarrass myself or do silly things. And that's what I loved a lot about what Kurt did on TV. So Kenny Omega, some say out there that he is one of, if not the greatest wrestler working, well, he's not working right at the moment, but, of the last decade. And he's saying that Kurt Angle's the man. Do you disagree? Where does Kurt Angle rank for you?
I totally agree, I think. Because Kurt could do all styles. He could do technical. He could do brawling. And like Kenny said, he wasn't afraid to do anything to embarrass himself, which to the fan watching it, because Kurt had a way of just looking like he was embarrassed. And he just did great stuff. And he could take a match and see Kurt's matches, say a 20-minute match. You think watching wrestling for 20 minutes, just a spot here, back and forth, back and forth. But Kurt could take that and make that 20 minutes seem like 5, because it would be that enjoyable. It would go by. Things you enjoy, they kind of fly by. And Kurt, he had it down to a T. And he's probably, I would agree with Kenny Omega in this. Probably the best I've ever seen.
We talked some time ago. Do you remember?
Except me, of course.
Of course, for God's sake.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, just asterisk it. We know the score.
The asterisk stand for but.
With I was even thinking, we talked a few months ago about Kurt Angle in a really random Thanksgiving skit as well backstage, and somehow he makes that work. He makes everything work, and this goes to Kenny's point that you can put him in any situation and he'll make something good out of it.
Oh, I love Kurt when you put him in some kind of I think we had him as a judge one time. Oh, he was perfect. He was a great judge, or I forgot what else we had him in. Something like that. And I would like to have seen him as a used car salesman.
Well, so many of the wrestlers say old wrestlers. Some of the wrestlers weren't they? Because I remember seeing Dusty Rhodes, Jerry Lawler. I'm sure I've seen Ric Flair do them. And then go, let me just introduce my friend Dusty Rhodes, and let me tell you something, Daddy. And then just launches straight into a 1974 Buick.
A lot of local car dealers did that, because Jerry Lawler in Memphis was probably one of the most older guys they had on TV. He was on TV all the time, doing commercials, doing this, doing that. And when you saw Lawler was doing it, well, you'd stop and watch it. It could be about, I don't know, living room furniture. Now, most guys are not going to watch living room furniture ads, but if they had Lawler in it, they'd watch it. If they had Kurt Angle in it, you watch it. Dusty Rhodes, yes, you'd watch it. So you did kind of make an impression on people that could, if they were thinking about buying furniture, and that would be usually if they got married or something, that would be their wife's job. He said, hey, why don't we go down here? Because they did the interview with he's not telling her this, but he's saying, I think we need to go down there, and because he has that in his head. Yeah. Lawler, there's no telling how much money Lawler made just in Memphis, just on local commercials. Because if you make them for 30 years, you got some money rolling there somewhere. And he'd make personal appearances and, at different type deals, and they would pay him for all this. So I would say Lawler probably had some $1 million years in Memphis.